Oh yeah, I got
There we go.
it.
Perfect.
Hello.
Well, hey, Barry.
Hey,
How's
Barry.
it going, man? Hi,
Good.
Barry.
Hi. How is everybody? Can you hear
Very
me?
good, and you? Oh, yeah.
Uh, okay, good. I had some technical difficulties. I was gonna do it on my iPad, and then Spaces doesn't work on iPad, so I had to frantically switch my mic over to my cell phone. Luckily, it works there. So,
Yeah,
but
so
It's okay, Barry. We have
yeah,
so much troubles in the beginning.
it barely works on anything, to be honest, Barry. So
yeah, this platform
It's
is pretty sad these days. It's
it
unfortunate.
is, man.
We need a better home.
I know. Like whoever makes a better home, I hope they do it soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have any of you seen oh geez, there's this I think it's called Cara, Cara.
No. Mm-mm.
oh,
Well, the lead designer for Remedy went there and I followed him over there and it's an art space. It's a social media design specifically for artists. I don't feel like I should be on there because it's, very professional people. But hopefully that's a space that maybe can be included with VP. It seems very nice. But anyway, I'll post some information about it later if people are
yeah,
curious.
that sounds
That'd
amazing.
be
That
good.
does.
You could put
Yeah,
it under
I try to
this
do it now,
area.
but I'm afraid I disconnect myself. So like I'll wait till the interview's over and I'll drop it in the space below. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh
Anyway,
man. Well,
it's nice to hear from all you, by the way.
I know.
No, yeah,
It's
it's
so
nice
nice to
having you
see
here,
you,
man.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, let's get started, Barry. How about
Sure.
this? What we'll do is we'll ask, well, what what's a little bit about yourself and how you found the community in VP.
Sure. Well, I'm just turned 48 this past September 2nd. Um, Many of you with the birthday wishes, thank you. I don't know. I'm a New York born guy, born in the suburbs of New York, out of Yonkers, and spent most of my life down there. And been around, traveled a lot throughout my life, and just kind of consider myself a pretty basic kind of guy. Just try to be a good person as I grew through life. And for VP in the community, it was interesting because I didn't know anything about it until the pandemic hit, and then I know we spoke previous to this, and I gave you a little background, but I used to be into esports and doing some competitive gaming myself um, before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, everything kind of shut down. So I was looking for a game to play, and Ghost of Tsushima was coming out, and I'm a big fan of Japanese culture and art, and this game just looked beautiful. So I was like, all right, this is going to be the game I'm going to play, and that was it. I got into it, and I think one of the trophies may have been to use the photo mode. So I was like, all right, let me do that, and I just that was it. After that, I was just taking pictures nonstop. I thought, wow, this photo mode is incredible. It also ruined me for future photo modes, but it
It
was
does,
just
doesn't it?
yeah, it really does, man. And then but it was incredible. I had a lot of fun and then I wasn't really on Twitter. I mean, other than for marketing things for the esports stuff, but I just started posting some stuff and I just stumbled upon virtual photography. Like I had no idea about it. But the community and specifically Cynthia who's on the line um connected me through
Hey,
Facebook. Hey, it's good to hear from you. But
it's you.
you were like one of the biggest supporters I had in the beginning, which really led me to find the community and be accepted by the community. One through Facebook, and then when I finally got on Twitter, you were very supportive and promoting what I was doing and stuff. And community is just wonderful. I mean, you all know that, and they're so accepting. Uh, so I felt at home right away, and that was it.
I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
happy.
Thanks.
I just always loved your work from the beginning, and I'm glad I could help you like in any way. Because I mean, you shine on your own, of course, but
No, I appreciate
it
that.
was nice to know that I was able to help.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I mean, even the whole group I mean, I think Bianca, you're in there too in the Facebook group, and I know
Oh yeah. It
And
came
it
in a
was
little bit later, I think, though.
you did, or
Yeah, I
okay.
came in a little bit later. Cynthia was the one that brought me in there. She snuck me in there.
I think Nick and her run it, right? If I recall. I haven't been on Facebook in a very long time.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, but it's kind of dead right now, so
mm,
I wouldn't go there.
yeah, it's weird. Um, there is no space to go to anymore, I feel, but oh well. Hopefully that'll come
We'll
back
find a
around.
space one day. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it will.
we should put all our heads together and just, do something.
How hard is
Yeah.
it to make a platform, right? Oh
I
man.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Probably very hard. I'm probably
I
super.
was gonna say, Jesus.
And
you know,
expensive, I'm sure.
yeah, but I think I don't know. I have dreams, I guess, being just imagine everybody coming together and creating something wonderful, But actually, there's got to be talent in the community that can manage all this, right? But the need, want, and desire need to be there eventually.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Barry. I think you got several questions from the audience. I think it's amazing
I
questions,
thought so
actually.
too. Yeah, I've been spying on them ever since they've been going up.
Right. Just like little sneak. How about we go with Cinnamon's question?
Okay.
Okay, first he says, firstly, are you going to bless us with more of your autumn New England photography this year?
I hope to. Um, I'm not very confident in anything I do. And when I do real photography, which I've been doing for many years, I don't share any of my photos. I've got so many photos on my computer that I've never shown anybody. Because I just don't have the confidence in them. So it's very nice to hear that he's interested in seeing them, and I'm going to make a real effort. We're coming up on fall now in the season. I'm going to plan to go out and do some day trips and try to get some of the beautiful colors here in the Hudson Valley region of New York and put them online. And yeah, so the answer is yes, I plan to. I haven't been very diligent about doing it just because I've been very busy these days. Um, that I haven't been posting much of anything really. But yeah, I'm excited
Because I
for
would
them.
like to see them too, Barry. I think everybody has that sentiment of like, I don't know about this, but once you do, I think you'll be surprised, just like Cinnamon.
Yeah, no, I get that sense and feeling sometimes from the community, especially when you with VP, like you put things out and VP is such a competitive scene. Not intentionally, but it is, and I think all art is in general. But you never know how something is going to perform or how a shot is going to do in the community or if it's going to be liked at all. And it always surprises me that I put out a shot that I don't think is that good and people just love it. It just goes like I get more likes than anything else, and it just I don't understand it sometimes. But I'm always happy to see that it's something that you're not confident in. The community just takes in. It's like, oh, this is great, we love it. So that's always reassuring. Um,
It's nice to know that all you got to do is just try and see what happens, right?
yeah, yeah. Social media can be brutal too, and
Oh yeah.
so sometimes you put something out. Like I put out a shot the other day I thought was really good, and like nobody liked it. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? And I usually blame it on X because I think that the community is just not seeing my stuff sometimes, which is sad. Because I miss those interactions with people. That's for
Right,
me, VP is like just putting something out. Someone goes, hey, this is cool, I like it, and then just kind of talking about it, right? I mean,
right,
that's just I think what makes the whole community. And then X just takes that away from you, unfortunately.
right.
Like you put something out
BP
and
is
it
very
just
social, isn't it? Like you're mentioning. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So again, I don't want to make this a sad conversation about how bad
No,
X is, but everything just
it's
seems to come
okay.
back to it. But yeah,
If you ever get interested or need like a little boost, the last interview with Dex was really good about that
yeah.
and
Okay,
what her
cool.
view on it was. So the next question with Cinnamon, what's a style of photography you wish you'd see attempted and experimented with more in VP? Oh, that's
Ooh,
interesting.
yeah, that is interesting. Hmm. It's hard to say because the area of VP is so broad, and I see. I mean, I watch a lot. I don't interact a whole bunch, but I'm constantly scrolling through hashtags and seeing what people are doing. Um, I see a lot of the same sometimes, but I do see a lot of other areas being also hit very well. And oddly enough, those areas um, and those styles don't get a lot of attention, which is surprising to me. I guess it goes to show that VP kind of has a very specific aesthetic that people like, and a lot of people kind of go toward that style. You know,
Hmm.
and I think maybe because social media drives that kind of stuff, that is sad to me about VP. But I think that there are some wonderful people out there who have hit all the styles. I don't know if there's one or more I'd like to see more of. I think I think I'd like to see less editing, if that kind of flips the coin a little bit on that. I like seeing VP in a pure form where people take the tools that they have and create something out of that. I find that fascinating. I also find it being part of the virtual photography, video gaming climate. It adds a level of video game to doing photography that you don't get outside of the virtual photography
Hmm.
space. But I think overall, I like seeing a lot of minimalism stuff. I think I wish people would experiment more with color. I know that's your forte, Bianca, which is I always admire. Every time I see your shots, I'm like, God, I wish I understood color that well.
You
um,
know what, Barry? It took me a while. Like, I know I've always liked color, but to get it to where it balances and doesn't hurt your eyes, that was the trick.
yeah, yeah, I imagine. I mean, because it's always such a pleasant. And it doesn't matter what the subject is with you. I mean, not to say
Oh,
it shouldn't, but when I see it, I'm like, God, those colors just it just yells at me like I need to learn that. I mean, you were like the main inspiration for me to try to learn color theory.
oh,
Uh,
dude, thank you.
yeah, sure. I mean, I know I don't express it much. I do online sometimes, but it just I don't know. I'm not good with social media, and I sometimes it
Wait,
comes across weird for me. But
you know, also the games that you play though, they have like colors that are very like when I think of Control, it's like white, red,
mm,
black,
yeah,
and some
industrial.
tinted of green and blue, right? Yeah, industrial. And
Yeah.
that was so hard for me to understand. Like playing that right now, I'm still
Mm.
playing Control, but playing that right now, and also all the objects are very shapely. I don't know if it makes sense, like squares, triangles, things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, it's very defined. Yeah,
Right. And it's trying to
that's
go out
interesting.
of my box as well and take photos of what the game is trying to portray, like how you're saying, like in its purest form. I kind of edit
Yeah,
a bit, but not to where it doesn't look not like Control.
right.
Um, so that's different. So to go into your style, that is actually really hard for me to do.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like I kind of love the darkness. I love I love foggy, atmospheric, spooky. I'm a night person by nature. You know, I don't mornings and me don't agree. I know when we originally were going to do this interview, previously it was set for like 3 p.m. because I just wasn't sure if I'd be up this early. um, uh,
Thank you, by the way.
yeah, but you know, I'm a vampire, I guess. But I've always just enjoyed the night, so I think there's something so beautiful about that draws me to games like Alan Wake and Control because they're very dark games. But I
Right.
feel very comfortable in that space, right? So I've never really thought about it, and I also have this thing for balance. Like I can look at
Mhm.
something on the wall and tell if it's straight or crooked, you know, without getting a level out. Um, so playing rec control where things are very symmetrical but yet also very distinct shapes just call to me in a certain way that I just like love it. I feel like I could just get in control and just sit there for days and just always come up with something new and original. And that's I think more of a nod to the developers than anything. Just because the game is just so amazing with everything it does. But you know, for you having difficulty with that is a surprise to me because I see your Ghost of Tsushima shots, and I think is it Assassin's Creed? I hope I'm not getting that wrong. But another one that you're, oh, maybe it was Far Cry. I don't recall now. But you had these amazingly beautiful colors, but they were so pale and pastel-like, and I was just at awe. Like, wow, how does she even think to do that? Because I would think to go the opposite way with stuff like that, go a little darker and more bold, and maybe make things a little more shiny. Um, so maybe we can teach each other, I
Yeah,
guess.
I'm down with that because I'm like when it comes to the opposite, that's why I admire people who do what I can't, right? I think that's what we all kind of do, right?
Mm.
Um, but then like I've implemented certain stuff from folks who do more like atmospheric because my shit's not really atmospheric. At
Mm.
first, it wasn't. So if you bring the two, then you know, I feel like we could create something amazing.
Yeah, yeah. We need more collaborations in this community.
Yes, I had some fun with Cynthia doing some
Mm.
of that, and I haven't with Jack because Jack sucks. Why? Joking.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, I had a few collaborations, and you know what? The best collaboration to do that kind of stuff is honestly Instagram. I
Mm.
realize
Okay.
Instagram is more collaboration friendly. They actually did an experiment on Twitter, with the collab, and that I got to do with Cynthia. Remember that,
Oh.
Cynthia? The Horizon photo?
I do remember that. That was fun.
Hmm.
So I do agree, Barry. That would be
Yeah.
more fun to do.
Yeah, we're trying. I know you may know some of us started up RMDVP because we're all remedy heads. But we're going to try and do some collaboration stuff there. So anybody listening who might be interested in, I mean, we don't have any plans or ideas yet, but our goal mainly with this site was to bring people together. Um, you know, you know, maybe because I'm older and I don't want to sound like the old cranky guy, but I just feel like this community would do so much better if people would work together more, and not focus solely. I get, you want to make a name for yourself and you want to be really great in VP, and I admire that. And I think people deserve to be recognized for what they do. But I don't see a lot of people helping other people get their name out there, push their art, and just be more promotive in that sense. I think if
I
everybody does
agree.
that, yeah, I think if more people come together and do that, it just helps the scene, overall.
That's
Just
why I
as a,
admire you doing like the control account and
mm,
the other control with Mullen that you're doing because I know you want to be involved like that.
it's fun too, right? Like, I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
is.
And I think I just have a sense of community. I think this goes back to my esport days too, and some other stuff I do. I just always, I'm a helper by nature. I'm always the guy in the background who likes to do things just because one, it's fun, but I just like to bring people together, and I like to be a part of that. Being an introvert and being antisocial, I don't always fit well into places. So it's always nice to be the one that can bring it together, and at least I can admire it from afar, if that makes
Right.
sense. You know?
Yeah. Like to see
Yeah.
what you've helped create come big or come true, right?
Yeah, but then like now I'm part of this community because I helped maybe bring it together, and people may not know that I did that, which seems to happen a lot. Um, but that's fine though. Like I don't do it to look for credit. It
Hmm.
just sounds weird, and that's I think why I don't do well in social media, because I think social media is very driven on making a name for yourself and setting yourself apart from everybody else, and it's just that's not important to me as much as bringing people together and having a group of people that I can get along with and share
Right.
ideas with and kind of also share some rough times with. I mean, I got to say, going back to Malin being part of the RMDVP, she's such a wonderful person, and I'm sure you know her.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and we talk now through Discord and stuff because we do work behind the scenes for the Remedy VP World stuff, and she's like my guiding light because I I can be impulsive, and as an introvert, I listen a lot, and then I have strong opinions, and I don't usually have somebody to bounce that off of, and so now I bounce it off the room, and she's coming back with real logical and she just grounds me. So I really appreciate meeting her. And I know she's in the chat too. So hey, Mal. She even sent me a text already saying I'm doing great. So she's wonderful. So I'm so
And you
happy
know
to
what,
have met her.
Barry? You really are. You do have this vibe about you that's so easy to talk to. I want to let you know
I appreciate that. I try. Catch me in a bad day,
that.
you wouldn't say that.
I think we all have them days.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
How about we go to the next one? And this is from Tammy. Or
Okay.
you know what? Yeah. So this is a really good one. So looking back from when you started until now, what advice can you give to someone new to VP to help encourage them to keep at it and not be intimidated by what they see from others who have been doing it longer?
Well, thank you, Tammy. And also, Tammy, you may know, put together that post-it note day for control, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so awesome. That was
So
awesome.
yeah, it was. We had a lot of fun kind of doing that, or at least supporting that, I should say. She did that on her own. We just kind of threw out some images and stuff. So thank you for the question, Tammy. I don't think you're in the chat, but if you hear this later, congrats on that event. People seem to love it, and Remedy, of course, getting behind everything with the community. To her question, looking back from when I started now, what advice? I think the best advice I give any VPer is just do what you want to do. Don't go out and worry about what everybody else is doing, and just get in there and have fun and create the images you like to do. Um, that's the advice I would give everybody, and anybody who feels discouraged about it. Look into yourself and decide why you're doing VP. And if you're not finding that you're doing it because you want to do it, then maybe you should consider why you're doing it in the first place, and is it really something you want to do? You know, I know there's a whole culture of people who want to be influential, um, and I'm not judging any of that, by the way. I'm just stating that it's out there, and I know it exists. And if that's the area you want to go, you need to focus heavily on that and understand what it is that people want to see and kind of go after that. If that's not what you're looking for in VP and you want to just create things that are interesting or beautiful, then my advice is, get involved with the community. There's lots going on. There's wonderful people like TPM out there creating events. I know you're wrapping up your Alan Wake 2 event this week, which I keep forgetting to put hashtags on for. Um, but there's lots of stuff in the community to do. I mean, I do. I know someone else also asked a question. I think it was Infinite Without Fulfillment, who was like, "Why do I keep doing themes?" Um, and that's the main reason is just because it's something to do that will make you a better VP because it takes you out of your comfort zone to do something you may not be comfortable doing. And you surprise yourself. I mean, I wish I had all the time in the world for these events because I would have hundreds of them. Luckily, I have some people helping at the moment with Malin and Railbeam taking over for the oldest house on Thursdays. This Wake Wednesday is a full-time job. I just last night at 4 o'clock in the morning put together the showcase that's coming out next week. Um, but there's nothing more fulfilling than going through all the Wake Wednesday shots and seeing what people have created based on a theme that I put out there, and then be inspired by it. Right? That's the whole game right there. It's like, wow, look at this person. How did they do that? And how can I do something like that? Have it be the colors or just the composition or just the subject matter, right? So
Right.
I don't. Hopefully, I didn't go too far off track with that. But it's. I encourage people just to keep finding what they want to do and go after it. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't have many followers in comparison to people who've been doing it less than me. You know, um, and that doesn't bother me so much. I'm always happy that I have followers because then what's the point of interacting with anybody? But I put pictures up because I think they're cool, you know.
Right.
And if someone else does too, then that's great. Then we have something to talk about. And if I can tell somebody something that I did that helps them, that's awesome too, and vice versa. So just
Right.
stay at it and get what you want out of it more than anything, and I think you'll be happy with VP. So.
Well, dude, that was freaking solid. And I do agree, especially since there's a lot to take in and a lot of themes to try to get your
Hmm.
own type of style. I mean, that's like the best way to figure out if that's going to be your shit or not. I do agree.
Yeah, style is important. I don't have a style. But I definitely know when I see an ultraviolet shot, or I definitely
You
know
know,
when it.
I think everybody does have a style. It's just depending on it just you don't see it, but someone else might see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. I think this is going to sound weird, but I think I purposely try not to have a style. I
You think
think
so?
I do. I think I try. So. I know this is another question in there, so I may answer it for somebody.
Okay.
But when I go to a game, I let the game tell me what the style is going to be, and then
Mm,
I let the game tell me what I'm going to shoot. And that's why I really appreciate when a game has a PM at launch, because there's nothing for me. There's nothing better than that first impression of seeing something that just looks amazing to me, and having the opportunity to capture it in a way that I like, that I can share with everybody, right? So when a game doesn't
right.
have a PM and then I play through the game, and like Alan Wake, for example, I mean, I tried taking shots. It was not easy. Um, but I wish it had a PM. So now I'm playing it again. It just doesn't feel the same,
Hmm.
like because I know what to expect and I know what's coming. So I start coming up with ideas of how to approach the shots, and that's not as fun for me. So I think my style is more what the game tells me the style is going to be, and I try to focus on that more as opposed to saying I'm going to make it look like my photo, if that makes
I like
sense.
that perspective. Like you want what the game wants it to look whenever you get in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I
you'll see
see.
that in my Shadow of the Colossus shots a lot. And I know
Juan.
what's his name asked the question. Let me scroll to the questions here because I'm
Yeah. Juan
horrible.
said
Yeah, yeah.
your appreciation for Shadow of the Colossus has been evident for a while. What significance does the game hold for you?
I, you know, I have good friends in my life, and when I first started VP, they all jumped at me and was like, "Oh, you need to try this. Oh, you need to play this." And that's actually how I found Control. One of my gaming friends was like, "This game is cool. You're gonna love it. It's got a photo mode," and he was right. I mean, I put God knows how many hours into that game already. So Shadow of the Colossus was the same thing. A friend of mine was like, "Look, man, this is like the best game I've ever played. You should play it. You'll love it." So I was like, "All right, I did." And I remember it had a photo mode. It was free because it was part of the PS catalog, and there was nothing out at the time. So I jumped in and I started playing it for the first time, and I was blown away at how beautiful the game was for no reason. Right? You get into Shadow of the Colossus, and anybody who hasn't played it, there's nothing between point A and point B other than just beauty. This huge open world that has nothing in it, just wherever you look, there's just different environments, different atmospheres, and just beautiful things. And that struck me as this is what the art of video gaming is all about. Not just the visuals too, but the way a story was told. Um,
Right.
it's a very sweet, bitter, sad story, about love that evolved. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't played it. Um, I am probably the last person who hasn't, but just in case, I don't want to spoil anything. But there's just a beauty to the game that is very dark, which appeals to me. Um, that when I was capturing it, just came out through the photos. Like again, the game told me what to do there. Um, I didn't I didn't do it. Have you ever played a game and you're just caught up in what's happening in the game? And I know, like, if you've ever played The Last of Us, you probably had this feeling if you love the game, like a lot of people do, because you just connect with it in such a level,
Mm,
and then you capture that, and it just comes out through the picture. You know,
right.
that's how Shadow has always felt for me. It's just it's a magical game for me. So I'm happy to hear that it comes through in the photos and that people enjoy them so much. But did that answer the question? I hope.
You did, and actually, you said it in such a poetic way that I haven't played this game. Actually,
Mm.
I haven't. So you made me. I
What?
have not. I know. Well, let me ask you this: when did this game come out?
Well, it's a PS1 game, right?
It
So
is?
Yeah.
it
No, PS2, I
PS2,
think.
you're right. Yeah, yeah. It's a very old game. It was very primitive back in the day, but it's been remade by Blue Point Studios, who did a phenomenal job. The game is breathtaking, and the environments. Anyway, so the remake I think was a PS3 remake. Yeah, I could keep going on. I gotta control myself here because we get.
Okay, so it
But check
at
it
one
out.
point, yeah, because like okay, I did not become a PlayStationer until like PlayStation 4. So there
Okay.
was so many games that I missed. You know what I mean?
Mm.
There's
Yeah, yeah.
still many games that I need to do, I think. But that was
Right.
one like every time I see Juan's shit, sorry, shit, I shouldn't say it like that, but I cuss a lot, my bad. Whenever I see his amazing pictures, I'm always like, God damn. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
I should play this game. So, but I always just forget. But the way you described it, dude, I'm like, you know what? I gotta put my foot in it because you described it so beautifully.
You know, it's you ever played Ico or Ico was the game that got me onto Sony Japan Studios and their games, and Ico I think was also a PS2 game, just pure art. It's a beautiful, simple game. Uh,
It's from the same director,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
I forget
Yeah.
Fujimoto, I think his name is Ude. I don't want to butcher his name because I'm sure they have. But yeah, they did 3 games total. They did Ico was the first, Shadow of the Colossus was the second, and then I'm trying to remember the third one that was PS.
Guardian,
Yes,
something,
yes,
something
The Last
Guardian.
Guardian, I think.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
which their production hell. I don't think they actually even really finished that game before they put it out. But they're beautiful, simple games that are driven by a very simple story, but are very heartfelt stories. That you can connect with it, and very minimalistic. But I would recommend checking out. I would love to see what you would create with that game because it's got a really good photo mode. The
You just
in-game.
sold me. Like I'm,
Oh,
I'm sorry looking at it right
oh, we're download it.
now. I'm
Well,
like,
you'll
you know
need to,
what? God damn it.
yeah, you'll need to tag me on the shots too because I definitely want to see what you create. I Juan
Okay.
does amazing Shadow Clash shots too. There's quite a few. There's a guy Diego out there too who's a little more quiet in the scene. Does a lot of control stop, but he's been putting out some really interesting Shadow of the Colossus shots too. It's fun to see other
Well, you
people's
sold
take on
me,
a
man.
game.
And you have such a way of explaining things, by the way.
Oh, I'm good. I'm
So,
glad because I'm so nervous right now.
you
I
are?
feel like
No,
I
man.
I feel
Good.
like I'm rambling on because I'm nervous. So hopefully I don't
No,
get
you're
lost.
good, and
I appreciate
and,
it.
and you're explaining what the question is beautifully. And like I said, look at me, I'm already looking for games.
Yeah, no, I'm so psyched at it. That's the greatest thing is turning somebody on to something like that.
Yeah, dude.
Especially, I mean, like I'm such a fan of everybody in this room. For a minute, I'm looking through who's here, man. I'm such a fan of everybody in here. So appreciate you
I
all coming
know
out
they're
to
they're
listen.
all big timers. Look at that.
Amich, man. Amich is like, oh man, his atmospheric shots melt my heart, man.
They're
Keep those
insane,
up,
dude.
Amich. Yeah. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked.
Oh, all good, man. All good.
All right,
Let's
cool.
try. You know what? Let's try Mullen, especially since she's here and she could listen in right now with us.
Cool, cool, cool.
Mullen asked, okay, what does your VP process look like? Do you plan ahead? How much editing do you do, if you do?
Great question. I my process is simple. If I have free time, I sit down and turn on my PlayStation and start playing. And you know, um, I have like depression. I've been dealing with it much better as I've gotten older in my life. And I don't know if anyone has dealt with depression before, but it can be debilitating to a degree where like nothing's fun, right? So you don't want to play video games, you don't want to eat. It depends. There are different levels of it. I've had all variances in my life, but I have to say, my life has been pretty good as of late. As you get older, you learn how to manage it better. So my process always starts with, do I feel like playing video games today? You know, and then it usually comes down to VP in particular because I have so much pleasure getting in there and taking shots. That's really all I do now. I don't even really play a game anymore. I think I was joking with Malin the other day about this. Like, who plays games anymore? It's all just go in and do photography for a couple hours and get a lot of pleasure out of that. Because I haven't even finished Alan Wake 2, right? Like, I got all the way to the end of the game, and then the photo mode came out, and I said, well, I'm just going to start over, and try and go through it again. So I'm like really close to the end of it. I haven't touched the DLC yet, and I haven't gotten that far. I mean, I probably put 15 hours into the game since I restarted, and I haven't even gotten to Watery yet. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But that's my process starts there. I don't ever have a plan really, unless there's a theme I'm trying to hit. I try to support the community as much as possible, so I try to get on the hashtags and stuff or contests or whatever. I'm not big on those things, but I like to show support by at least contributing something to it. Um,
Right.
so that's where my process starts. And then I get in there, and then I feel what's happening in the game, and I try to bring that out through the image that I'm doing. That's why you'll see a lot of my shots are very different, because it depends on how I was feeling when I was playing and what the game was making me feel like. And if I was a little more depressed that day, the images may not be as lively, and so on and so forth. Um, and then for editing, I try not to edit at all. My goal is always to just use in-game stuff. Like all my control shots, 99% of that is just in-game tools only. I don't touch them at all.
Well, dude, that's stellar because they're incredible, just like that. Especially Jack mentioned, that first photo that we put for you, that the one red
Mhm.
person going up.
Yeah, yeah,
Jack,
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
you say that's like one of your favorite?
Yeah. Like in like over the years, you kind of have ones that always stick in your mind, that you'll always remember and always go down as your favorites. That's one of
Oh,
mine.
thank you.
Like ever since you posted it, it was just I always go back to that one.
That's.
It's just it's
Thank
perfect,
you,
man.
man. I
Yeah,
appreciate
it
that.
really
That one's
is.
edited. That one was. It's the first time I'll admit it. No one's ever asked me before, and I've never told anybody because I don't think it matters. But I was trying to get a shot to look like that in game, and it was almost impossible. It was just too hard to get the setup just right. And control photo mode is not the greatest. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not the greatest. It has its challenges. But I was able to get that shot pretty close to what it looks like in the final version. I just had to remove the background mostly in Photoshop, and then I added some flare with a couple extra of the red, dots around him just to make it pop a little bit more. But
Yeah,
that's like the only time, because I really wanted that shot. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason I edited it, because I was like, God, I really want it to look like this, and I could see it in my head, and I was like, I'm just never gonna get it like that in the game. So I brought it over to Photoshop, and people just love it. And so it was rewarding, but I feel guilty about it. you know?
dude, you don't feel guilty about editing a photo. It's no. They go hand in hand,
I
don't they?
guess.
Taking a photo and
Yeah, I
editing it.
guess to a point. I think when there comes to a point though where it becomes more graphic design than virtual photography. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be a graphic designer. I want to be. And I know it's just me, so I'm not trying to say like this is right or this is wrong, but it's just kind of how I like to do it. The fun for me is the creation process, and if I have to like take it out and do edits with it, that to me doesn't feel very fun, right? I don't know. That's just
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair
yeah.
enough.
But I'm happy with how it came out, and everyone really that's a rememberable shot apparently. So I'm happy to hear that.
Oh, yeah, it's
I
amazing, man.
appreciate
It
it.
really is.
The funny side is I made a companion shot to that one, which is almost an identical shot, but with a different enemy type that I was able to achieve 100% in game, and no one cared about it. Which is fun. It was
Oh,
funny because I was like, God, I was so proud of it. I was like, oh my God, this is like the shot I wanted to do with the other one, but I was able to achieve it with this one. But it was a black and white because it was in the void, so the background's all white and the character's all black since it's one of those stone guys. Anyway, very funny to me, and I was like, oh man, it's sad that it didn't work out like how I thought. Like you'd have one in yin and yang in the black and white version, black and red. Anyway, um, maybe I'll share that one again. Maybe it'll get more love second time around.
yeah,
Definitely post it,
share it
dude.
again. It just
Yeah.
proves that there's no rhyme or reason to if something gets seen or anything
That's true too,
on
but
this platform.
it just struck me as funny at the time. But oh, all right.
But Barry, I gotta say, for you to have a picture to be your own instead of what the photo mode, what what does the photo mode want from you or the game wants for you? I think this is it too. This is a really awesome picture.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorites from what Jack has to do those little square edits. I'm like, God damn, it's badass.
Oh, I appreciate it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy that people see that shot and they think of me. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about it because I feel like um, I've got over 10,000 photos in Control, and I feel like so many of them are good
Wow.
that I mean, someone else asked this question too, so I guess I'll lead into a little bit. This is my fourth playthrough with Control, and now I've decided that I think I've seen everything, so I'm challenging myself to to shoot the game with one specific filter the whole way through, which is the noir
Oh,
filter.
that's actually cool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm doing it
And
more for
that's so
me.
strange to use. I guess, like, whenever I was going through the filters, I'm like, why this? Like, because of how I had in my head, like, isn't this, like, not that? But
Well, I can see for you, especially with being so good with color, taking away color must be like the worst thing in the world, right?
it's weird, I gotta say. But you know what? That should be my challenge too, wouldn't it?
I mean, sure, if you like, you know. I mean, I don't know. You have 10,000 followers. I don't know if they would appreciate it as much as maybe I would, um, because you're
It
known
wouldn't
for color,
matter
right?
because
I hear that.
I
I hear that.
suppose so. But
I mean, I'm just trying to keep it real a
I
little
think
bit, but
figuring, oh, you are real, man. But I think that's a cool way to look at it though, with your fourth, trying out your fourth time, dude.
yeah. I mean, I also just I think Control has the best filters of any photo mode I've ever used. Um, because they do more than just overlay color. They actually do things to the environment. Like atmospheric filter adds not only a color, but it also adds an atmosphere, right? And
Right.
something to look at. And then like the videotape filter does some interesting things with shadows and lights and stuff. It's a very creative PM where you can get in there and do more than just take shots. You can really get creative given the room you're in, the lighting that there is, the enemy types, some of the visual effects that are happening. You can do so much with those few filters that are there that I thought, let me try and focus on one. Because in my head, I thought I was going to be done in like a month, but here I am, like 6 months later, still not halfway through the game yet. So I figured I'd bang out a couple filters. Like my next thought was to go into the nightmare filter next because I like selective color and
Right.
black and red looks so amazing in this game. So maybe I'll get there. But so that was the challenge. Like I want to see what this filter can do if I used it in every spot for a shot. And I have to say it has amazed me in some spots of what it can do because it's such a heavy contrast, the noir filter. It is
Yes.
just black and white. There's no gray in there at all. So it's very stark. Like you take that image and it's like poof, it's in your face. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And sometimes there are rooms you go into and I want a shot and it just doesn't happen. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to use a different filter here. And that wound up happening. Like I have to take myself out of what I want to do because I want to create something, but I can't use the filter I want to use. So,
Right.
those challenges just exist. I'm gonna post this picture on the TPM now since I just found it while we were
Yes.
talking,
Let's look at it. See.
and be a little more interactive, I guess, right? I'll put it under the original post. So let's
Okay.
do hello. Anyway, I,
Okay. Were
I'm
the Ask
I,
VP Space the square one, or the just the interview?
the one with the control shot that says this upcoming Ask the VP features Barry. It was
Okay.
like the original post with all the questions in it, so I
Okay.
just
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
it in there, and
Let
that
me
was
look at it.
all in game only, and I was so proud of that shot,
Wow. It's gorgeous.
right? And it's a companion piece because it's the exact same beacon spawn, but it's just a different character doing it. And I had hoped to try to do this for every character, but it's so hard, you know.
Dude, this
Um,
is beautiful.
I thought so too. I liked that the rock formations were all squared, and of course,
Yeah, that is awesome.
eh,
That is.
I appreciate it. Anyway, so that was like
Here, I'm gonna
again
take it real quick
companion.
and grab it.
Anyway,
Put it in the Ask the interview because they need to see it. Bam.
oh, that's nice. Thanks.
But yeah, damn. God damn. That's good.
Yeah, that was fun. That one was that took me like 3 hours to get that right.
Oh,
Um,
three? Wow.
well, because what happens is if there's a short window in which they spawn in, and you have to be within a certain range because the camera range is not very far, as you may know. Um,
Yeah.
but if you stay long enough, the characters will respawn. So because the control, you can't just exit out and come back in because save points aren't exactly right where you were. So it just becomes a thing. And like, I want this shot, I have it in my head, so I just run around, kill people, take some action shots, and then when they spawn in, try to get the timing right. And I got lucky. I got a good pause. And then I tell you, I got like 50 angles on this because I wanted it to be right. So, but I was very happy with when it came out. But it was just like one of those things. Like, I put it out and I thought, oh my god, people are gonna love it. They loved the last one, and then this comes out. It got like 3 likes. And I was like, okay, no one liked it as much as me, but it's fine. I'm still happy with it, and I'm proud of it. And so that's what VP is all about. So in my mind.
It is, and I just love how passionate you are with this one, especially how long it took and the execution of it. You're like, yes, this is what I wanted all along.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm happy to be able to share with everybody on this kind of medium because I think explaining it also may give more appeal to the thing. That's one of the problems
I
with
think so
social
too.
media. Yeah.
And to what this little interview can do, right?
Mhm.
Oh, so Malin
Right.
asked a second question, by the way. She asked, "You
Oh,
have
she
taken
did.
some, yeah, you have taken some amazing minimal shots in control, which is like the one you showed us, right? Is this a
Right.
style you enjoy, and what other styles do you like?"
I think I could do minimalism all the time. I think it's the most interesting of the styles to me because it requires you to do the most with the least amount of stuff. Right? You need to
Right,
create an image that is impactful with the fewest amount of elements in that picture. And to me, that's such a fun challenge because there are so many ways to do it, either by texture, by color, or just sheer emptiness of space, right? And having that impact. I mean, I've got so many minimalistic shots just because it's, I don't know, it appeals to me. I'm a minimalist person. Like, if you were to walk around my house, you would see it, where the impact is because it's just the walls are very very simple. I have very few things up, so people can come in and see maybe a piece of art that I have on the wall and appreciate it, and not be overwhelmed by everything else going on in the scene. And I think that's there's a certain, I don't know, there's a certain beauty to just keeping it simple. You know, it appeals to me. So that is a style I enjoy more than others for sure. I don't do it a lot. I think because I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole. Like, it just feels easy to me to do a minimalistic shot, and that sounds kind of arrogant, and I don't mean it that way. But like, I feel like I could go into something and see anything and kind of create something that'll look interesting in a minimalistic way. And as much fun as that is, I'd rather try other things, so I tend not to stay on a style I feel like I'm pretty good at, or I feel more accomplished with, I guess would be the way to look at it. Like, I feel like I'm pretty well accomplished for what I want to do with minimalism, that I want to
right,
try more things with color, right? So I'd rather do more complex imageries utilizing different colors and understanding how their relationships work, as opposed to having a smaller image and then, I don't know, maybe I'm just being silly about how I'm looking at it, but that's just kind of how it works for me.
I think. Oh, first of all, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
It's
can.
been acting up.
Sorry.
So, what you just explained is how I think TPM works with their minimalism magazines, right, Jack? Right,
Mm.
Cynthia? You guys kind of put it to where it gives the picture the focus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole. Yeah, there shouldn't be, but the magazine wouldn't exist if it weren't for VP.
Mm.
So each shot needs their own stage, which is the page it's on,
Mm.
rather than having everything feel cluttered.
Yeah.
Like you said with the artwork in your apartment, it's yeah, you've got to have that forefront.
Yeah, and I think just making it impactful is what makes minimalism so good, right? Like, you can just take one little thing that people may not care about on its own, but by using virtual photography, you can add color and texture that'll make it stand out in a way that no one's ever seen before. And that's
Right.
and that
Yeah,
and that's interesting, right? Like, to be able to do that one, to have that creative mind, I think is pretty amazing. Like, I think Malin is amazing at minimalism. Her shots are just always like, oh God, I wish I was that good. Um, but the challenge is always there. But it's not as fun for me as it used to be. I think I still enjoy doing it, but I don't know. I guess because I'm constantly always trying to learn, that I get
Right.
into play, get into play, and I just start. This is what I want to learn today, or this is what I want to do today, or this is the approach I want to take. And I don't tend to fall back on things I've done before, unless it's for a theme. Like I know Malin runs VP minimalism, and there's Minimal Friday, so I try to contribute to that because I think it's a great format. So I try to be a part of that. Is that good?
Hell yeah, dude.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
man.
stumbled
Yeah,
my way
yeah.
through that one, but okay, cool. All
And
right.
if you want a challenge, go play Avatar. That's a bunch of color.
Yeah, is it? See, all right.
Clutter too.
Uh,
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's my world, dude.
really?
So
Okay,
if you play
cool.
that, just be like, that's Bianca world.
All right. I'll take that challenge. I got a
And
couple
I'm
things
I'm
on the
in your
plate,
world
but
too, and I'm trying.
yeah, I've been really liking your control shots, but I wish you'd post more. I keep seeing one every now and then. I'm like, oh, I want to see more.
It's because
But
it's just I just need to play more. I post a lot of like reposts to be honest, but I'm gonna play today, and I'll get you some. I promise.
yeah, yeah, please. I'm dying to. I love seeing especially a game you know really well. I love seeing how other people see it. Because
Yes.
that's inspiration right there. So it's hard when you see a lot of the same images over and over again. It just gets a little stale
Right.
out there sometimes. So having a new perspective, and especially someone you like I don't know if you guys know Disco. Um,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, man, she's like my favorite. Her and Shinobi are like two of my tops. That every time I see their shots, I'm like, God, those are so good.
Like every
How,
time, right? I'm like that
every
ain't
time, like, how do I get there? Like, how do I do that? Because I just love the visuals that they create. So I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Keep at it, I guess. Right.
yeah. Okay, we got some more questions. Here we go from Damon. Damon, you are amazing. He asked, "What's your favorite food?"
Huh. That's easy. That's sushi all day long.
Love
If I didn't
sushi?
think, I love sushi. Yes. Raw fish for me
Okay.
every single day. It would kill me, but I would do it. But it's expensive too,
I
so
actually
maybe
love
not every
sushi
day.
too, so
Dude,
I
what's your
agree.
favorite? What's your
Oh
favorite
man,
food?
I can't even tell you like what it is. I think it was like rainbow. It's called rainbow something. Just
Okay.
different kinds of fishes.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I like salmon or salmon. How do y'all see it?
Salmon works.
Salmon?
Salmon.
Yeah.
I can't even know. That one, the pink one.
Yeah. Smoked salmon, right? All day.
Yes. And then he
Cool. Cool.
asked, "Do you have a game you enjoy?"
Hello.
Oh, I think we lost
Oh
her.
no! Come back.
Knew it was going too
She's been
well.
taken by the dark side. She's in the void somewhere.
Oh, yeah, she's gone. Oh, connecting.
Come back. Yeah.
Oh, yep, all good.
Enjoy playing in your spare time?
Yeah. Lots. I think my comfort game is Control, just because I know it so well that I can just get in there and just start doing things. You know.
That's your comfort, isn't it? Too, right? That comfort
Yeah.
game.
I think
Yeah.
when you get used to a PM and you know what its limitations and stuff are, you can kind of know ahead of time what your approach would be before you get in there sometimes.
Right.
Especially when I'm doing this control noir thing. Like I know I'm in a certain area that's very dark, so it's going to be more challenging for me. So I sometimes in my off time think of what areas of that map can I go that will give me some decent shots, right? Or how can I be a little bit more creative here? And I've probably seen every shot that anybody's put out by Control in the last 4 years. So I also know that when I do something, I can try to have a different approach to it that doesn't look like everyone else's shots,
Right.
just to distinguish myself too, but also just to give another perspective on an area. Because I think a lot of
Right.
times people run through games and they just don't see a lot of stuff. And a control game or a remedy game, I should say, it's got so much detail. Like so much detail. It's mind blowing to me that when I zoom in on something like a key and control, that they've actually etched in words into the key itself. Like who does that in a video game? Like what?
Or when Miss
Like
Pope has like the what do you call it? Fucking thing, the paper.
yeah, everything's got
Yeah,
writing
yeah, yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
it's incredible. Like I mean, obviously there's some reused resources throughout the game, but there's still a lot of original stuff in there. The post-it notes, a lot of them have different writings on them. They're not all the same. So someone had to go in and do that, right? That's just crazy. Those guys are killing it over there at Remedy, and I'm now experiencing that with Alan Wake 2. As I go through, I wind up stopping everywhere just to like, God, why is this here, and why is there so much detail to this thing that has nothing to do with the rest of the game? you know.
Dude, I
So,
agree. And in Control, there's like desks that have their own personality. And I think I posted
mhm.
one with there's like a cat lady with her plant.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
made her little desk her own. I thought that was so interesting, and I don't think it does anything to the story.
I think that those are Easter eggs for the developers. That's what I think. I think those desks probably really exist somewhere, and that's somebody's dog who developed the game, and they have pictures of their family because every desk has some have different pictures of animals and people with animals. And I found one with Thomas Puy. I'm gonna screw up his name, but Puya, I think Puaj. We were doing the sticky post challenge thing, I found a board that had like a wanted ad and it had some names of the developers there that I'd never seen before. And I was like, oh crap, look at that. See, they stuck that on a bulletin board in some random room somewhere that had no one stopped to look would never even know. So I think those Easter eggs are for the developers more than they are for the players. But
I
I
think
think it's
so
kind of cool.
too.
Yeah.
Oh dang, dude, you got some more questions, by the way. Like even
I'm
for
open
the
for all
interview.
of them if you guys are. Did I answer that one by the way? I got going off on a side tangent. I think let me see. Other than that is oh
You're
somebody
nailing it,
asked
man.
is it not remedy related? Ooh, all right. So let me forget what I just said in the last 10 minutes, because it was all remedy related. So sorry, Damon. I'm here with you. I think the game I like the most that isn't remedy is Ghost of Tsushima, and that and also Shadow of the Colossus. But Shadow of the Colossus takes a lot out of me when I shoot because I don't know what it is about that game, but I put so much effort into making that game look good that it drains me sometimes. Um, and I shouldn't say I make it look good, but I want to make it look good because I think the game deserves it, right? So I go in
Right.
there, I want to put everything I have into it. Sometimes I'll take shots that I'm just not happy with, and they'll sit on my drive forever. But Ghost of Tsushima is the most fun I've ever had, and still have with a photo mode because you can just do so much. Like you can go in, you can put the music on from the game, and you can get lost in a shot, and you can completely change the aesthetic to whatever you want with the tools that they give you. And that to me is so much fun. So much fun. I would play it more if I had time. And I know we had talked about maybe doing some Legends together, which I'm still down to do someday. Uh, and I'm hoping part two is coming soon because, man, I would love to play a Ghost of Tsushima part two.
It
So
has the best
Yeah, we can.
colors, dude. I love all the leaves.
everything about it is just gorgeous. It's the most beautiful game this generation I've ever played. Because Shadow of the Colossus, I think, is up there with the remake for different reasons, though. But Ghost, I mean, yeah, and also like my love for Japanese culture and art. Really, that game just speaks to me. I'm looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed game. Hopefully that'll fill that void
That'll
for me.
hold up, right?
Yeah,
I hope so
yeah.
too. I love Assassin's Creed anything.
I've never
So I
played
hope
one of the games.
no,
No, no. Everyone's gonna hate me, but I've never.
no.
I mean, I know. I'm just saying. I know everybody in this room like loves Assassin's Creeds. I think I see your shots all the time. I know. I think Jack, you're out there doing stuff for Ubisoft, aren't you? I think I saw.
Yeah, doing some photo mode
Yeah, those
videos
have been awesome, man.
for them. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I was so nervous
Mm.
and terrified during the whole process.
Yeah, but you're killing it,
'Cause I've never done anything like that
man. But
before. Yeah, no, really appreciate that, man.
But
Thank you.
also, like again, fan over here. Your shots are always incredible. I mean, we don't interact a lot online. I know you're off doing your thing and stuff, and there's only so many times I can say I love your work. So I just kind of admire it from afar with the like. But yeah, no, man, your shots are really up there. Your style is reminds me of like you and Malin have similar kind of styles. There's such a clean look to it, but yet it's so appeasing to the eyes. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
said that
appreciate
best,
that, man. I
dude.
really
Clean.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
could see.
super, right? It's just
Yeah.
such a you got a very distinct style. Keep it up, man. You're doing great things. But
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, no, really
yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you.
pleasure is all mine. Sorry, did I skip over a question there, or I got it off on
Dude, I
that?
don't know. I've been getting kicked out every now and again. But here, let me just quickly read on one of them with Dr. Ama. What's your favorite oldest house sector and why?
Oh, geez. Dr. Amala, by the way, I think is she part of the collective, Captured Collective? I think she's.
I
I don't know. Some
I think she was. I'm not too sure if she is
okay.
now.
She
So
did
that's
used to do a podcast before though with
yeah.
Miss Mitchell.
That's
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
I. That's how, well, she's also a big Control player. That's how I knew
she
her through
is.
Control. But also, I think she was doing some Captured. I think she ran a contest or two for them that I entered. She's
Yeah, you got first runner up, didn't you?
yeah.
I got second runner up on
Oh,
that.
so you
Yeah.
got the T-shirt then?
Yeah, I got a t-shirt and a couple of
Because I
pins.
was supposed to get the T-shirt, but
Yeah.
I was super overweight at the time, so it's also a little funny story for me. I'm a little naive to. I don't really enter contests other than to show support, but I really wanted that book, so I like gave it my all to try and win that thing because it's impossible to get. And anyway, I came in second, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I get a T-shirt. So I contacted the Capture Collective because they were running the event, and I said I'll take a double X large shirt, not knowing that like they only had one size because it was like whatever they had been given. It wasn't like as I don't know. I just thought that I could pick from whatever size I wanted, and I would get this shirt because that's how the contest worked. But it wasn't at all. So I wound up getting your prize, which was the hat and the pins because the hat would fit me, but the shirt wouldn't. So you wound up switching, which I thought was kind of funny. It was my first experience with
Yeah.
dealing with contest prizes. Like, no, you get what we have, and that's it.
Yeah. Whatever's on the back shelf,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Sometimes. No, they were all. The pins were there. That was awesome. The
Yeah, the
pins.
enamel pins are
Um,
nice. I got those too, and then they sent some letters too on like official.
yeah,
They,
all blacked out
yeah,
words and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
It's just kind of nice. I mean,
awesome.
Remedy makes some really cool stuff. I'm such a fan. So I lost what oh, so she asked, what's your favorite sector and why? Uh, hmm, that's hard. Uh, Geez, a lot of dead air here. Let me think. You know, it's weird because there's so many good spots in the game that I associate certain shots more for the lighting than anything else. Because Remedy's engine works so well with lighting. Um, I would just say any place in the astral plane for me, I think is interesting, and probably my favorite sectors, even though they're not really sectors, I guess. But I'll for the sake of answering this question, I'm going to say that just because the amount of white in the background can lead to some interesting shots. Um, I know as of late I've been having a lot of fun shooting there. Maybe because so much of the early game is there and using the noir filter, it's a big change in visual look from all the black to all the white, you know?
I have to agree. I think that's whenever I was taking my first pictures, I'm like, this is it right here if I want to take any type of minimalism.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree.
Yeah. And especially when you do in-game only, right? Then you don't have to worry about, filtering out background stuff, right? I
Right.
mean, tools these days, I use Lightroom. And don't get me wrong, by the way, I do edit. Like on my capture control account, I try not to, but on my personal account, I do a lot of experimenting and editing and stuff if I need to. Like when I played Stray, I had to do a lot of editing with those shots because there was no photo mode. But I just adored that game so much that I just had to. It was a pleasure to do it because I really wanted to achieve something with them. Um, but the tools out there, Lightroom, I can do so much in Lightroom, remove backgrounds and isolate subjects and stuff. It's incredible what you can do these days.
Or
Being a
clear like a little dot or something. I find that like insane.
Yeah,
Healing.
they even
Yeah.
they just came out with an update for using AI, and I was doing a shot in Alan Wake 2, and there was this raindrop because you can't control the weather in the photo mode, but there was a raindrop that was like streaming through my subject matter, and I was like, oh, that really bothers me. And I didn't see it when I first shot it, but I saw it afterwards. So I went in with Lightroom and they have a remove tool, and I just with AI and I swiped through, and I swear to God, I did such an amazing job of removing that thing without ruining the background. So I was like, wow,
Dude, yeah, it got better and it's only gonna
yeah,
get better with time, I think.
yeah, yeah. So I get the
I
appeal
had
to it.
so Miss Pope's arm. it was kind of funky. It was like bent, kind of weird.
Hmm.
And the AI, like Dot, made it to where it connected to your wrist rather than
Wow.
just make it at an angle. Yeah, it's insane. I'll show you
Yeah.
an example soon. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree with that.
That's awesome.
Hey Jack, do we have any more comments in the interview?
Let's have a look, shall we? So we've got some from Renzo.
Renzo.
So we got 3. Oh, this one because it's gonna be tough. You can only play one of these for the rest of your life: Control or Alan Wake 2,
Ooh.
and why?
Oh, jeez.
Just cruel, isn't it?
That is a tough one, man. That's a Sophie's choice, right? I would probably have to say it would have to be Alan Wake 2. Um, because I just love atmospheric games, and I don't think it gets more atmospheric than Alan Wake. And Control may hate me, but when Control 2 comes out, that may change my mind. But also Control feels a little dated to me at this point when after playing Alan Wake 2 because it's such a
Right.
beautiful game. What was that?
You're right at that point, right? Because it's been a few years.
Yeah, I mean, not that it's bad, but the graphics are definitely different, and Control has some issues with its photo mode. I don't want to blow them up, but there are just some technical issues with it that make it frustrating sometimes to accomplish things, and I don't find that with Alan Wake. Although Alan Wake's photo mode has issues too, but it's the better of the two. But I just think there's so much more in Alan Wake to capture. I think there's so much people haven't shown us yet from that game that it's going to have many years of virtual photography of new subject matter. So yeah, I guess I would take Alan Wake 2 at the current time if I was stranded on an island with electricity and a controller and no other game.
Without no electricity. But what if you did? Because you had to play a game. I, that's cool. And also, funnily enough, I'm almost done with Alan Wake 1, so I haven't beat it yet.
It's good. I played the remaster when it came out because I never had an Xbox. I've always been a PlayStation guy, and so that was an exclusive when it first came out. And then on the remaster, which I think came out on PS3, no, PS4, I picked it up and played it, and it looked pretty good. But the game was good. It Two is definitely a better game in general, but I appreciated what one was. If you keep it in your mind, it's an older game.
Right.
But it's definitely worth playing through. Story is quite interesting.
I'm at that
Are
part
you?
where these two little rock stars they do something cool.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Um, that's where I stopped. I need to continue, but that was so interesting, and I thought it felt like a dream the whole time, just
Mhm.
because it's weird. But I think the
Yeah.
whole like, control feels like that, and Quantum Break, I guess, right?
I
Kind
just
of the same
started that
vibe.
game the other day.
Quantum Break?
Yeah, I don't I have it on they don't have it on PlayStation, and I don't know, maybe when the Ukraine thing was all in the news, they had this Steam had this like Ukrainian pack where if you donated $100 to the cause, you would get Quantum Break and a whole bunch of other games. And I said, well, I want to play that game and I want to donate to a good cause, so I did it. And then it's sitting on my computer, and then I've been doing a lot of video editing these days for showcases and stuff to help promote the community events going on. It's been like nonstop actually for the last month. So I said, well, let me
Right.
see if I can maybe get into doing some computer gaming. So I installed Quantum Break, and I downloaded some of the tools to see if I could figure out how to use them and stuff. And I didn't get very far, but maybe someday we'll see some Quantum Break shots because it's one of the games that I heard is really good and also connected to the Remedy universe. So
Felt like you could. It felt like something that should have been a TV. How I remembered it, I think. Also kind of weird, but I beat it. That's one game I did beat from
oh
that
wow.
remedy.
Well, it's
Hmm.
funny. I was just gonna say when you're like, "Oh, I didn't finish Alan Wake." I was like, "Yeah, well, who plays games anymore, right? It's all there's like no time to actually finish the game anymore."
I know. I
But
want to. I wish I had all the time to do it. Dr.
yeah,
Amma asked a really good question in terms of photo mode. two functions are absolutely necessary for photo mode for you.
For me, I think that's a fairly easy question. I think the range unlock is the most important thing. If you need a camera, if you've played Mortal Shell at all, which has the
Yeah.
best photo mode to a degree, in my mind. And although I didn't think the game was amazing, um, it was interesting enough to play, and the photo mode made it more interesting to play because the freedom with the camera is so important. So I think if a game is going to make a photo mode, you need to be able to put the camera wherever you want, regardless. And someday Naughty Dog will learn this and make us all happy and unlock that stupid orbital cam that they have on all their games. Uh,
It's like holding your
so
breath.
frustrating, man. The greatest video game company in the world can't make a decent photo mode. Um, frustrations. But so that'd be the first thing, would be the camera unlock. I think the second one is probably depth of field. I think having some way to isolate your subject is really important without having to edit it. I guess in certain degrees you can get away with it, but I think those two things are crucial for a photo mode to be successful from an artistic point of view. Because anything else you can do outside of the game, right? You may need to learn some editing skills, but anything outside of that, I think you don't really need a photo mode for. Um, and even blur to a certain degree, but it's more authentic if you can do it properly, at least to the eye, at least I think.
If you play Assassin's Creed, I think Origins and Odyssey, in my opinion, have really good depth of field.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, it's
Shadow
amazing.
of the Colossus too, because they have a near end of far depth of field, which is I think is
Oh, that's good.
really,
Ooh.
yeah. And they also have RGB scales for shadows, tints, highlights, and I think saturation. So you can like go in there and change every tone in game. It's really a good photo mode. I mean, the
Well,
camera
then you can
range
make
is
it your
limited.
own completely, just with
You
its
really
photo modes. It's
can.
cool.
You can create any aesthetic you want in that game. But a little tip though, the game automatically defaults a high vignette. So if you don't turn that vignette off, you'll regret it later. So every time you go into photo
Oh,
mode, first thing you need to do is turn off that vignette because it's really heavy. And you may not notice it when you're like in the moment of shooting something, but then you'll go back later and go, damn, that vignette is really heavy. So,
I always try to bring down the chromatic aberration and grain as well if I'm able, because I like to
mm,
put my own type of grain, But to see it there,
no,
I'm like,
for
God
sure.
damn it, I didn't ask you to put it there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't actually, that's when I edit too. That's what I do too. Like even Alan Wake has the grain option, but I can't see how fine it is, and I don't know what the final result's going to look like when I hit the button. So I always try to take it off, and then I'll bring it into Lightroom and I'll zoom in to the pixels so I can see how fine. Because when creating atmospheres, it's important to have a certain size grain, right? Because it really creates for that aesthetic. Too heavy and it looks like snow, and too small it looks like mist, and just right, it might be the exact, bit of fogginess you're looking for. So I find grain fun. I remember early on when I was like running in Cynthia's circles, we were talking with the community changes over the years. You start with one group of people and you kind of migrate to other groups, and but Cynthia used to do a lot of like tagging people with, oh, show me a grainy shot or whatever, or show me and those chains used to be a lot of fun. Um, but I remember tagging someone saying, show me a grainy shot, and he's like, ew, grain. Why would you want grain in a shot? And I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't mean to offend you, but but I like grain in a shot. I've seen some beautiful grainy, like I don't know if you know Jin or kimchi, I think is
Oh,
her
hell
other.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Her use of grain sometimes is so. Even Tammy, I've seen her do some grain shots, if I recall properly,
When
that were
someone tells
really.
me that, they don't know nothing about photography itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think
Because it,
everyone.
it does serve a function. It really does.
I
Um,
agree with
but
you.
also
Yeah.
like to say like, yeah, disgusting. Yeah, it's not right
See,
either.
I didn't get the violent reaction to it, as if like I've said something wrong. That I didn't understand. I mean, I understand
Look at
there's
me, I was
a.
ready to fight for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna call my grain squad. Let's go.
Beat
Um,
him up with grade.
throw rice at people. Here's some more
Yeah, for real.
grain. Uh, it's funny. I mean, I get to like having a really high res, clean image. Is important to people, especially with video games, because fidelity is everything. I guess, right? I know, like to some people, frame rate is important. Where I prefer
Right,
performance, visual mode over performance mode.
right.
Um, Actually, just saw Jeff Keighley put out a survey. I think, what do you prefer more, performance mode or you know, what do they call the other one? Anyway, to make it look more beautiful, I forget what they call it. Visual mode, maybe. And everybody was
Well, I
performance
don't think I'm
mode.
fancy enough to do that.
Yeah, but I understand it. But I don't know, people get mad about it. I remember trying to explain to somebody the purpose of using grain, and she was just so offended. Like I would never use grain. I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry to bother you, but I just didn't.
There's this girl
Uh,
who her name's iGirly, I believe. I think that's how you say it, but her name's Mel, and she does incredible grain photos of Ghost of Tsushima. I'll
mm,
show you a little bit.
please, yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah, I like working with grain, especially with atmosphere. There was a one I
For
did
real.
for Mortal Shell a while ago that I actually was able to achieve in game, and it was just one of my favorite grain shots. Maybe I can pull it up later.
Post it, post it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll.
Here,
I'll
show it to me.
let me. While you're talking, I don't have that many Mortal Shell shots because the game is not very long. But some of my
There's
best shots
a
are.
couple foot. Oh, some of your best shots, but
No, I was just saying. I think as I'm scrolling through, I think some of my best shots came from Mortal Shell just because of the freedom of the camera.
I have
Yeah,
yet to play that one. That was really good too.
it's a Souls-like game. It's confusing. I mean, when you first play that game, it's frustrating because they don't tell you anything, and you don't know where to go, and you end up walking in circles for hours. Oh, I think we lost somebody. I know. I heard a hello. Am I there?
Yeah, 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 yeah. We're
Okay.
here.
I heard a bleep, so I wasn't sure if maybe I got disconnected or something.
We probably got
Anyway,
to pick up Cynthia again, by the way, Jack. Okay, then what?
man, this platform really is
Oh,
garbage, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
it really is a pain in the butt.
All right, I will post this in the same spot. This is like one of my
Oh,
favorite
that's the VP spaces. Okay.
grainy shots that I've done, and this one's from Mortal Shell. Grain and Mortal. And like Shinobi had a part in helping with this photo mode to
Right.
give him his props.
I think you would like Deathloop, dude.
I played it for a little bit. There's just too many games to play, right? Like, just I feel like,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
yeah, like I got into it and I thought the photo mode was really good because I think he had a part in that too. So I was like, well, it's gonna be good if he had something to do with it. Um, and I just didn't have time. And I'm doing so many like events and stuff. All right, I think I posted it, but I don't see it showing up here, so it'll probably pop up eventually. This app is
Good
weird.
time.
I don't know. I, I hate it here sometimes.
No. Hey, we have another question or a couple
Oh,
that's
there it
kind
is.
of the
Okay.
same. Brett and who else asked this? Someone else asked the same question. Okay, basically, what game do you feel doesn't need a photo mode?
Doesn't need a photo mode?
Mhm.
Ooh. Um.
What games? Sorry, what games do you feel need a photo mode that
Oh,
do not have one? Sorry, I
oh,
guess they
okay.
could go both ways.
That was a hard question because I was like, I think they all need a photo mode. Um.
For real.
Which game? I think in recent time, the one game I really wanted to have a photo mode more than anything was Stray. Just because I am a cat person. God, I shouldn't be admitting this on social media, but yeah, I guess I'm.
No, you
No,
should
no.
because I have a cat and I'll show it to you in a little
I
bit.
feel like it's different for women to have cats than for guys to be into cats.
It
I think.
don't matter. It
I
don't
get.
matter.
I agree.
I'm glad you like cats.
I love animals, right? But I just grew up with cats. I mean, I love all animals. I'm a big animal conservationist and fan, and I watch all the nature shows and stuff. I just think the wildlife's amazing. But I just, in particular, I think cats have the most amazing personalities. So when Stray came out, I was like, this game is amazing, right? Because they really got all the little mannerisms from cats right, and the curiosity and the adventure and just everything about the game was just very endearing. And I thought it was a sweet little story in a cyberpunk kind of world. And I just thought, I wish this game had a photo mode. I can't tell you how many hours I spent, trying to line up shots without. turning the HUD off and stuff like that. Actually, I don't think it had a HUD, so I think that made it easier. Um, but I really wish that game had a photo mode. If it came out with a photo mode today, I would play it again just for that. Um, so yeah, Stray, check it out, people. I think Anna Perina just.
Stray was honestly so good. It was disappointing it didn't have a focus.
Yeah, it was just beautifully done. And that company's having issues right now. Anna Perina. I think they just.
Oh, was it them? Is it?
Yeah, well, they published it, right? The developer was somebody else, but they published it. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, luckily Remedy is self-publishing, so that's not going to impact them too much. But they were going to do movie deals with them, so that's going to impact the Remedyverse movie stuff. Because I'd love to see some Alan Wake control stuff on the TV. They should be talking to Netflix or HBO or something.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah. I mean,
Alan Wake on the TV, it'd be insane.
You saw it?
It'd blow everyone's mind.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just connect that hole. It'd be better than the Marvel universe. In my mind, at least, it'd be more interesting. But you all saw The Last of Us on HBO, right? I mean, just how incredible was that show?
I wasn't a fan, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of the game or the show, or both?
Oh no, I love the games, but the show, I just felt like it could have done more.
Okay, that's a fair criticism.
Yeah, and I didn't like the whole zombie tentacles.
Yeah.
That's how they infect you.
Yeah.
That's really joined. There's a lot of people that went through, and they all said it was a good idea.
That's fair.
That was a little worrying.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think from their standpoint, I understand why. So I was able to not be too concerned about that as an overall presentation. Because I think the heart of what the show was really nailed it, and that's what was important to me with the game in particular. Like Last of Us is the first game that ever made me cry, and I'm a fairly emotional guy anyway in general, but I've never cried at a video game. But I remember playing Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2 almost broke me. I mean, that game was brutal on my emotions, and I'm sure some other people relate with it too. So when the show came out, I still had those feelings. So it worked for me in that sense. But I can see as someone who really wants what the game gives them, the show didn't deliver there.
Yeah, I don't know. I knew they were going to do some things different, but it was just, yeah, like different is fine, but I just don't think they pulled it off. And I'm hoping that next season it's going to be much better. Like they've learned from what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah, I get the impression that they will. I think it was a surprise hit for them. I don't think they imagined it to do as well as it did. So I think
It
this time
surprised me.
around.
Yeah. It surprised me in how well it did, because usually these games don't do well.
No, video game adaptations rarely do well. I mean, I recently watched Fallout on Amazon. I thought that was actually pretty good.
I thought so too.
Everyone keeps singing its praises, don't
Yeah.
they? I think that kind of succeeded because isn't that so? It's set in the Fallout universe, but it's its own story.
Yes.
It hasn't touched anything to do with the
Yeah,
games.
but also
Which I think things need to focus on a bit more.
Right. Yeah. I think that's to your point too of it being too much like the game, where it's too much like a game, right? It doesn't have its own thing going on. So it's a hard balance. I can't imagine as a writer and or filmmaker how to make that appealing to everybody, because you just can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, I think what would have been great for The Last of Us if they had told Tommy and Joel's story before the events, or Tess and Joel's story.
I agree, dude.
Tess in particular.
So
yeah, Tess was like a side character when she was really a main character in the game in the beginning, at least, right?
There should have been more of her. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it would have worked well as it would have been a great introduction to the games for first time viewers, and it would have been a great just would have been great lore for people that have been with the games for years.
Yeah.
So I would think it really would have served both people amazingly.
It also would have made.
But who knows?
Go ahead.
Who knows? They might be saving that for a future.
I mean, they could. I mean, I have a whole theory of what's going to happen, but I think to Tess too, the loss of her on the show would have been much more impactful because I didn't really care when she died on the show, right? But I did it it
Yeah.
was different in the game. But like I just as someone a viewer, I'm like, okay, she seemed insequential to the rest of what's going on here. She was overshadowed by everything else. And it was also the time when you found out about those tentacles too, right? So you were getting hit with two
Yeah.
new things that, like, what's going on here? Is this The Last of Us? I think it had its moments. I think as an overall package, though, I enjoyed it. I do think you're right, though. I think by season two, they're going to really do better, and I think we may even see more backstory. Maybe not with Tess, but definitely with the brother. The brother's dynamic, I think we'll see more of because it plays more of a role. I think in the second game, if I recall, especially early in the early
Yeah.
half. And then I think that's going to lead to a season three. And I imagine by the end of season two, we'll have a trailer for the game for part three. I think that's going to be part of the package of the show. At the end of the season,
Oh, that'd be
because I
interesting.
think Naughty Dog quickly shifted gears into development of dropping their amazing online game. By the way, I was so disappointed to hear Factions wasn't coming because
Yeah.
that was the most unique gaming experience I've ever had with a multiplayer game, from The Last of Us. So it's sad that they gave up on that, but my guess is to focus solely on a part three because the movie deal, they're going to tie everything together. So my guess is.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about? I think we
Brilliant.
got really sidetracked here.
Sorry,
No,
I think
we're
we're
all
going through
good. We're all good.
questions.
Did I answer a question? I know. I
Um,
think there was a question out there that led to us rambling on about
I,
movie stuff.
um, oh my man, yeah,
Oh, that was Brett who asked that last question.
yeah.
Yeah,
Where's Brett's question?
Brett, another good guy in the community. So
Oh yeah, do you feel what games do you feel need a photo
yeah,
mode that do not have
yes,
it? That was
yeah, that was Stray. I think that's what led into all this stuff.
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for the question, Brett. Good
Where,
seeing you.
so we've got okay, Cherid. Let's go. Chocolate or crisps?
um, Chocolate or crisps? So I think crisps are different in the EU than they are here in the States. So
Yeah,
what is your definition of a crisp?
just like a thin potato slice, I suppose you could call it. That's what
Like a potato chip?
that is a crisp.
Is that what?
Yeah, like a
Okay,
potato
okay,
chip.
okay.
Yeah.
See, I think crisp. I think wafer. I don't know why. Um,
Uh,
so chocolate or crisp? Well, probably crisp. I'm more of a savory than a sweet kind of guy. So yeah.
there you go, Terry.
Who asked that question?
Turid did.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, so we got another one from Renzo. Which VPs in the community are your greatest inspirations?
Man, there's so many. Uh, First, I'll blanket it and say everybody that I interact with has inspired me in one way or another. Um, I don't typically like answering questions like this in public, only because I think I'm sensitive to people's feelings. So I don't want to make anyone feel like they're not an inspiration or not important, because the truth is, anytime I see a shot, I always get something out of it, and especially if I'm interacting with the people. But what the people I admire the most are like Disco Photo Mode. She's amazing. Um, Shinobi is another one. I mean, everybody in this room, as I'm looking at everyone that's here, I can tell you one way or another has inspired me. Um, but those are, and then who else? Amich lately has been putting out some really amazing stuff that I've just been going gaga over. Um,
And it's just banger after banger.
Yeah, man. I see. I could literally just go through everybody's name and be like, and explain why there's so many. But I guess if I had a tier listed, it'd be like Disco on top, followed by Shinobi, because no matter what I see from them, I'm just always like, God, I wish I was that good. even like spectral lens. And he does a lot of Photoshop editing stuff,
Yeah, man.
He's
but
so
it always
dope.
just yeah, just it's so awesome looking. And I'm like, God, I wish I had that mindset to be able to see that and then make it happen, right?
Right.
Yeah, that vision, isn't it,
Yeah,
that you've got to
yeah.
have.
But there's so many. So, um, thanks for the question. But yeah, those are the one I see on my timeline. I always just want to hit that retweet button every time, just because it's like, oh, these are so good. These are so good, But need to have variety. So,
Barry, would you feel comfortable if folks requested to talk to you on here?
yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to talk to anybody who wants to hear me.
Awesome. So we'll leave the floor to anybody who wants to talk to Barry here because, as you can see, this is an incredible, incredible interview. We loved having
Oh,
you.
I'm so happy
Right,
to
you
hear that.
guys?
I was so nervous.
I
So
know,
Oh, 100%.
but
anyway,
this was really fun. Like you're so engaging.
oh, thank you.
Let's see. Well,
We got any requests?
Anybody want to say hello?
To be honest, the Twitter might be wigging out, so
It's no worries.
it usually takes a couple minutes
I also get
to
the
get a
feeling
request
of
through.
like just lingering in the background and not wanting to say anything. Yeah, that's me on Twitch like all day. So,
but you're
Twitch
supporting
monster.
in a way, rather
Yeah, yeah.
regardless.
I'm there. I'm a viewer, right?
Yes.
I mean, we can.
It's hard, like especially when your voice is out. It's hard to kind of put yourself out there like
Yeah,
that, isn't it?
yeah. I'm very self-conscious myself, so
That's okay.
I have an
Hey,
issue. Oh, go ahead. Do we have somebody?
it's me, just me,
Oh,
Cynthia.
we
Hey.
I was gonna ask you, do you like to read?
I do. I'm not
Yeah.
an avid reader as I used to be, just because the time,
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy reading. Like Thomas Harris is my favorite author, um, who you may know from Silence of the Lambs and the Hannibal books. Um,
Oh, I've
but I
never
like
read
true.
them.
Okay. Are you a reader? Do you enjoy?
I am, yes.
And share with us your favorites.
Well, I was just asking mainly because since you are like you love Control, Alan Wake, and all those so much, if you've read one of the books that helped inspire him, House of Leaves. Bianca
I
knows
have
what this
not,
is.
but I wasn't even familiar with it, to be honest with you. Um, but I am going to now read it. That you've told me that there's a connection because I've always
Oh,
interested in hearing it.
yeah, it'll be unlike anything you've read before. So
It is
I'm
so
That's
obsessed with it.
goddamn trippy. Oh my god, that's
is
all
it.
I'll say.
I love that though.
Yeah, I'd look into it. It's wild. It's really good, but it takes brain power. So
Okay.
yeah, I was just
Uh,
curious, being a big
that
fan. So
yeah, I appreciate that. No, I'm always interested in that. I remember. Do you remember the game Myst that came out many years ago?
yes,
It was just pictures, and you had to solve puzzles. And
yes.
anyway, they had a whole expanded universe. They had like 20 books or whatever, and for a
Oh
while, was
wow,
like really into them. So I always think it's fun when one medium can spawn off and create something else and keep that universe going. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm
of
definitely look into
course,
it.
of course. We can talk about it if you do pick it up. So I'm always here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, I think before we log off, do you have any questions for us, Barry?
oh
Oh,
we did have Malin try to
who?
join,
Oh, I see a whole bunch of
but
people.
Malin,
Oh, Mullen. There she is. Look.
Hey,
is she on? Oh yeah, there we go.
Hello.
she called my shot shit.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, leave me
Doesn't
Yeah,
alone.
surprise
I'm
me.
always causing trouble. Yeah,
Hey.
I just felt I needed to speak up after all the love I got in this interview. Thank you so much, Barry.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, it's I haven't known you for so long. I even thought that Capture Control and Barry was two different people. So I was having
That's
conversations with
true.
both of
Yeah,
them
that was funny.
like a fool. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, but I just want to say it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but it's totally
Mm.
worth it because I feel like we share vision on so many things, and it's great to work with you.
Oh, thank you. And likewise, and if I may, yeah, like I was it's interesting because my life is very busy, being 48 and all. It's just I have a lot of responsibilities, and it's hard to make time for the things you love, like video games. So I was slowly trying to back away. I mean, like X was just making me sad, and the interactions were down, and it just felt like I wasn't having as much fun with the community as I used to. And I thought maybe now was a good time to kind of sneak out the back door. And then you showed up, right?
Yeah,
and
we don't know if that
I,
is a good or a bad thing yet, but we'll see.
I well, yeah, well, I think it's a good thing because it sparked something in me that has brought more interest in doing this again, right? I just felt like the VP community was very fractured, and there wasn't a lot of cohesiveness of trying to build something together anymore. And that to me was a turnoff because there's just the community just felt like it was just dying, and everybody just wanted to grab what they could and run. And then I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. And then you came in and was like, hey, let's try to put all this stuff together and build something. And that instantly appealed to me. And I was like, yes, let's do it. And Railbeam too, because like I had slowed down doing the Oldest House Thursday for similar reasons, and I was just very busy too. And he stepped up and was like, "Hey, look, I'd like to continue doing this. I enjoy it and stuff." And that just kind of led to us doing the Remedy VP stuff, which has been a lot of fun. I've been, and I thank you mostly for kind of spearheading that and leading the way because I, again, had kind of lost hope in where this community was going. So I think so far we're having a lot of fun. I think we have a lot of fun things coming up, and
Yeah,
maybe we'll even do some kind of collab with TPM, and we can bring some love to the entire communities across VP land and grow as a unit.
yeah. Looking forward to that. And I'm glad
Yeah.
that more people got to know you through this interview because obviously you're a very nice person and you're doing a lot for the community. So thanks for that.
Well,
Oh,
pleasure. I
Marlon.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
It's
so
great to
I
talk.
do have a question.
Okay.
So do you have like something on your bucket list, your VP bucket list that you want to see happen?
Ooh. Um, I would like this.
That's a good
That
one.
is a really good one. Let me, I think I do, and I think it's probably unpopular opinion, but I would like to see VP be less dependent on developer support and be able to stand more on its own, um, not just an art form, but as an expression of oneself. And I think if VP can head in that kind of direction, it'd be a wonderful thing to be more mainstream in a sense where it's not considered, you know, taking pictures of the screen, I think people call it, or some other kind of derogatory way of explaining what VP is. Because I think there's some amazingly talented people in this community who don't have a voice, but through VP can express themselves and share their love for something. And it'd be nice if it can be looked upon as that, as opposed to just content for developers to use for marketing. You know,
Yeah.
that's that's what I think. Oh, that's what I hope for VP at least. Does that answer your question? I hope.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All
I would
right.
love to see that too.
Yeah. Well, we'll work together on it and try to make it happen.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I feel like that's our goal anyway. Remedy VP, right? So,
Yeah.
well, thank you.
Any more, Jack?
Are you back, Bianca?
Yeah. Shit.
Nice, nice.
I don't know.
No, that's no request to speak. It's definitely been on one
It
lately,
Yeah.
is, but
so there
I'm
might be,
glad I'm
but
always able to
nothing's coming
catch
up at
you,
the moment.
though. Still. Well, Barry, we loved having you with this.
Well, thank you.
This is a great interview. I actually really enjoyed this one. And I
I
hope you
appreciate
have
it.
an amazing rest of your day, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on, and I want to thank everybody who came out to listen. Because I'll be honest, I didn't think a single person was going to come, because I just don't think I'm that interesting. But I appreciate everybody who came out to hear the interview. I had a lot of fun, so thank you.
You were very interesting.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
100%.
Very.
appreciate that.
Very good interview.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, I think Bianca's disappeared again.
Oh
So
no.
she says, "Tell them I said bye."
Alrighty. Bye, Bianca. Thank you for
Sorry, guys.
coordinating all this too. We've been talking behind the scenes. Uh,
But she's been a star, man, Bianca. It's been
yeah,
amazing
she's. I
doing
don't
the
know how she
reviews.
finds the time, but Thank you guys for all you do too. You guys are a
Coffee.
real staple in the community here. I mean, if I may, if you're not pressed for time, I want to say like I've been doing this now for 4 or 5 years. I think time goes fast, but there have been two constants. It's been the photo mode and the capture collective, and I've seen many communities come and go. So you guys are really, and I know TPM went through some issues early on, at least a couple of years ago, I should say, and you guys really bounced back, and I love what you guys are doing for the community. So thank you.
Appreciate that, man. I really, really do. That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
know I know I used to be an organizer for esport events and called the TO, and when you're behind the scenes doing the work, there's not a lot of love or appreciation for what you do because it's a lot of work, and if you're doing it because you love the community, it's very fulfilling, but can also be hard sometimes because you're doing all that work and you feel like maybe people don't appreciate it as much as you think they could, right? Or maybe I stand alone on this, but I know it can be hard sometimes to push through and keep doing it. But you guys have been amazing, so anyway, just thank you again.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And we
Sure.
appreciate that a lot.
And I hope to see more shots from you, Cynthia. I mean, my feed has been kind of weird. I don't get to see the people I want to. I have to like certain people. I have to like go directly to their site so I can. I have so many ads popping up and stuff, so I have to like really hunt out the people I want to see. Um, but I hope your shots are always inspiring. Your Ghost of Tsushima double exposure is still probably one of my most favorite shots ever. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Is that the Fox one?
Yes, yes. I remember, I don't
It's
know,
funny.
I think it was your event too that you were doing. Like it was like one of those themes. And it was the first time I tried double exposure, and I remember seeing yours going, geez, I'll never be that good. Like
That
I
was
didn't
a
even,
that was a Photoshop though, so you know,
well,
it
yeah,
takes
but
you
go
gotta
ahead.
learn Photoshop. That's it.
Sure, but I think there's more to it than just that. But I understand. Um, there was just the combination of the two, the way that the trees in the background through the fox with his curved back lined up perfectly like that takes a lot of vision to put that together. So it was always anyway. I'd like to see more shots from you. Is the point?
I really
Oh,
appreciate that.
oh,
I was
always
actually thinking
inspiring.
of redoing that one, so
Ooh,
maybe that'll
well, I'd
give me
love to see it.
inspiration because I've learned a lot since then
Perfect.
in Photoshop and everything. So I do appreciate that. I am
Sure.
kind of on a like unofficial break, so there's not many new stuff for me right now. I've just been overwhelmed, but
Mm.
I'll get back to posting and back to interacting. And sorry, I kind of dropped off.
No, that's fine. I just being nostalgic here of the earlier days and hoping that everybody can kind of come together and be a solid community in a really bad space. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I miss those
yeah,
days too.
yeah,
There was a better sense of community then.
it really was. But even when moments, remember when moments left? Man, that really seemed to have a big
Yes,
impact. Yeah,
it
it was good to
did.
look back on people's stuff. Anyway, sorry, going off on a tangent. But anyway,
You're good.
all right, cool. I'll let Jack wrap it up.
Right, guys. Thanks for joining. Cheers, Barry. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks.
And thanks for everyone for joining in. Have a great evening, everyone.
All right,
Thanks,
you too.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.